Good evening and welcome to EDF 660 and our first Zoom meeting discussion for the class. My name is Dr. Jacqueline Blakely, or Jackie Blakely, and there's no one here, at least so far, so I'm going to go ahead with the discussion. If someone joins us, then I can recap and answer any questions that you may have. So again, welcome to the course. The first thing I'd like to let you know is that I am available in the course room. I am usually available in the course room 2 to 3 times a day. With that being said, I will respond to you very quickly, less than 24 hours if you send me an email or inbox me, and even on most assignments, I will respond within 24 hours. With the exception of the discussion. You may post your discussion and I may not grade it right away because I will be waiting for you to respond to other learners. So I will either grade you after you have responded to another learner or the day after it was due. With that being said, I'm going to move on. There's a student services advisor in the course room with us. Please, if you're experiencing any difficulties that's going to make it impossible or hard for you to get your work turned in on time, please contact the student service advisor in the course room and myself. We will definitely work with you so that we can keep you going in the class as well as we can. But if you don't contact us, we won't know what's happening and it'll just look like you're just not doing the work. And we don't want that to happen. So don't wait until the work is overdue or past due to let us know that there's a problem. If it's a technical problem, you can let the student advisor know. Whatever the problem, one of the two of us will be able to help you. If I don't know the answer, I will go look and seek the answer for you. The next thing I want to talk about is due dates. For this week, your introductions are due by Wednesday at 11:59. But for each week, your initial post is due on Wednesday by 11:59. And then your response to another learner is due by Sunday at 11:59. Now, the only thing about waiting to respond to another learner until it's due is it doesn't give a chance to have a discussion, which is what we're supposed to do. However, that is the deadline, Sunday at 11:59. Monday morning, I will check your paper. If you have responded to other learners before that time, I will have graded you. This week, your discussion is on chapters 1 and 2. And again, your initial post is due by Wednesday, March 1st. Your assignment, your week 1 assignment is due by Saturday, March 4th at 11:59. It is on chapters 1 through 4 with Ravage. And the questions, when you're responding to the questions, the criteria is that your response for each question is about 125 words. I'm a little flexible on that. If you give me 110, 115, 20, I probably won't say too much. But if you give me a response that's 50 or 60 words, that's kind of a problem because that is nowhere meeting the criteria for the assignment. I'm going to move right along since there's no one in the course room but me. I already talked about responding to other learners and hopefully getting a valuable discussion going within the group. I want to move right along into value-added feedback, which I'm sure you're already aware, but I do want to touch upon it. When you give feedback to another learner, it's not something as simple as, hey, I liked your work, you did a good job, super. No, you are given a comment that adds value to the learning. You can ask questions, post responses that are reflective, but they add value to that person's work. Even in the discussion room, you should be following APA guidelines. Therefore, if you are using someone else's words, you need to cite your source, even within the discussion, and your reference. So make sure that both in the discussion area and with your assignments that you are using APA style. I'm going to move right along to assignments. Now, your assignments automatically come through Turnitin. I'm going to post for you a couple of things, and one of the things I'm going to post for you will be about Turnitin. If you get a score of 30, 40, 50, that is way too high. That means that you are not citing your sources properly within your paper, or you're plagiarizing. And we know that we don't want that to be the case. Another issue, and I've ran across this one kind of recently, is Turnitin scores of 0. It is very, very rare to get a Turnitin score of 0. I actually went and researched that. So if you're turning in a paper that the Turnitin score is 0 every time, I'm going to kind of question that. I'm going to assume that you're going in and changing the settings so that it is harder for Turnitin to pick up on possible plagiarism or possible instances where you have not cited your sources. So I'm going to ask that you don't do that. Turnitin scores that range from like 5 or 10, sometimes even 15, depending on the work, is kind of normal, because there are some things that we all say when we write that are common, and so it's going to be found in a lot of papers. Things like all children can learn. I don't know an educator yet who hasn't used that line in their work. I don't worry about things like that when I see it. Also, in your assignments, they ask you to copy and paste the question. So often that question itself will be targeted. When I look at your paper and I see that this is where your 10 or 12 or 15% came in, I'm okay with that. That's not an issue. But if I see that, 40% of your work is highlighted and you haven't cited it, that is cause for concern and alarm. I'm going to move right on. Since we're talking about writing and assignments, if you have any difficulty whatsoever in writing your assignment, St. Thomas has a tool called Smart Thinking. And Smart Thinking is an excellent tool. I have used it, so I can speak to it. The thing with Smart Thinking is, first of all, if you'd like them to go over your work, you have to turn it into them a few days ahead of time. They have to have a few days to go over it and respond to you, and then you want to have enough time to make any changes that they may suggest in your work. Also with Smart Thinking, you have to be very, very specific about what you want them to look at. So if you want them to check over your grammar, you have to say, this is what I want. If you want them to check to make sure that you're following proper APA guidelines, you have to tell them that's what you want. So you have to be very, very exact about what you want them to look for. But like I said, I actually used Smart Thinking, and I liked it a lot. It can help with grammar issues. It can help with APA style. And it can just help with subject-verb agreement, all kinds of things. Sometimes when we are reading our own work, we don't always pick up on the mistakes because we knew what we meant to say. So Smart Thinking is a great tool for that kind of thing. And the next thing I want to talk about are the announcements. Anything that I think is important, I'm going to place it in the announcement. So I would suggest that you check your announcements every day. For example, when I leave the course room today, I'm going to post something about Smart Thinking. I'm going to post examples of value-added feedback. I am going to post information on Turnitin, a YouTube video on Turnitin, and I'm going to post this video that I'm recording. So the announcements is where I will communicate with you as a group. If there is something that I think I need to say to you one-on-one, then I will inbox you with that information. So once again, please make sure to check your announcements every day. If you have questions about anything, inbox me. You know, don't hesitate. Like I said, I will respond to you within 24 hours. I'm pretty good about being in the courtroom more than once a day. I'm sorry about that. My little four-legged friend here is pretty anxious because I just got home from work a little while ago, and he doesn't feel I should be on the computer. He feels I should be playing with him. So with that, there's no one here to ask me any questions or anything. And I've covered what I wanted to cover on the agenda for this week. And that's another thing. I will post the agenda for each week the day before so that you can take a look at it in case you do have questions. And with that, I believe I've covered everything that I wanted to cover on this first initial Zoom discussion. And so it's very nice to meet you, and I hope to be able to put a face with names. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.